Q4 tactics for B2C brands. My name is Nikolaj. I'm the CCO of Scratcher, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'll drive you through a lot of different cases and ideas and best practices on how you can win Q4 with your marketing. So let's go. So some of the things I'll share, of course, it would be within e-commerce and retail. It's not that gamification marketing can only be used in e-commerce and retail, but it's those two areas and industries that we're focusing on today. So some of the benefits that you have by adding gamification marketing as a layer to your marketing would be, for instance, to increase your cookie consents. We all know that consents in general is still very, very, very important nowadays, but also to increase the in sign-up flow and permission base, which is also really, really important. Of course, next after sales, we'll come to that as well. But making sure that you have those super, super, super important permissions is just of utmost importance for decreasing that cost of acquisition for future campaigns and future products. Of course, data layers. You'll probably know about personalization and how personalization increases performance. Well, you can only personalize stuff if you actually have a lot of data, and some of that data can come from gamification. So gamification is actually a very powerful tool to add that part. And of course, who don't want loyal shoppers? Loyal shoppers come back, and they are a lot cheaper to actually engage and activate rather than paying for new shoppers to try to convince them to make the first purchase with you again and again. So the reason why we're focusing on Q4, as a lot of you probably already is aware of, or in that situation, and now that we're recording in August, but this is going to be on demand, so you can rewatch and watch and go back and forward in the content as well. But of course, in general, 30 to 40% and even higher for certain industries of the annual sales happens in Q4. So this, we know that this is a super stressed and also very, very important time period to perform with. Excuse me. So in general, when you're driving campaigns and you're driving from email, you're driving channels from display, meta ads, search, SEM, other stuff, shoppers, they browse. And while browsing, it doesn't necessarily yield the sale in the first place. They might come back, they might accept the cookie, you might be able to retargeting, they might save the product on a wish list or something like that. But in reality, 2 to 5% might buy. But then there's 95% of the other traffic that, what do we actually do with that? And of course, the next most important thing that I just touched briefly on that we believe is honestly to get permission as a minimum, because getting that permission is going to help you with your performance for future campaigns. Also, a lot of companies are or already have loyalty clubs and membership clubs, and so trying to drive that. And you need the permission as a starting base, and then to add layers of data to sort of perform better for the future. So if we're digging into sort of the seasonal highlights that's coming, there's of course a lot of different regional and local and national things going on. But the three things, or sort of 5 big things, but the 3 things that we're focusing on today will be Halloween, Black Friday or Black Week, and Christmas. So we're going to take some different examples based on those 3 sort of seasonal highlights. But just because, remember, please, that's not just because I'm talking about seasonal highlights and campaigns, means that when you're doing gamification marketing activities, there's a big opportunity to actually do some on your website, do some always on activities, which can be guided selling, can be test quizzes, or you can implement it as a standard part of your email marketing and paid ads campaigns. But what we're covering today is going to be seasonal and campaign-based focus, and you can of course do that as well, either as standalone campaigns or to sort of add to your ongoing work with gamified content. But before we sort of dive into the cases, we are going to talk a little bit about best practices. This is something I've covered numerous of times. I've written an article as well. So if you want to go into details with best practices and what to remember to do and think about before sort of going into activating a gamified campaign or doing gamification marketing, please go to scratcher.io and read our best practices for gamification marketing campaign activation. Briefly, there's 6 bullets. Is 1, set clear objectives, is to understand what are you going for. Do you want permissions? Do you want sales? Do you want to engage? Do you entertain, loyalty, etc.? Then, of course, you need to know your audience, because the better you know the audience, the more you want where to reach them, where to target them, and where and how to message them. Then, of course, you need an incentive. incentive comes in multiple ways. It's not always just discount codes and prices, but it can also be a learning curve or a challenge. I would say, however, for seasonal and campaign that is going to drive a lot of sales or discount based, you would probably want to drive those with prices and discount codes as well. Of course, you should definitely promote it across multiple channels, but this sort of depends on what your objective is. You need to define the what. This is where you actually find the game format you want to use. A lot of people jump to the conclusion and say, I want to do a mystery box or a spin the wheel, and then I want to achieve this. But actually, you should work the other way around, because the format that you chose might not be the best format for your objectives and your audience. And of course, the then what, that's about all of the data. So now you have the campaign, congratulations, you succeeded with something just now and here. But what are you going to do with that data, with that permissions, with those sales moving forward? How can you sort of leverage that into your MarTech stack moving forward? So definitely, if you think this is something that you would be keen on going and diving a little bit deeper into, go to scratchy.io and read the full article on best practices for gamification marketing. Let's jump straight into spooky Halloween coming up 31st of October, an American tradition that has definitely taken Europe and especially Northern Europe with storm, and more companies are sort of jumping into the opportunity to make an event or create a campaign in this very busy time. There's a few things, and this is not just for Halloween campaigns, it's for all sort of campaigns. How to get started with it is basically you can create and build a campaign in Scratch, in the CMS tool in Scratch. It's 3 to 4 hours. Usually it's mostly graphic design. You need to then select a few prices. Again, I advise for these campaigns to sort of choose discount codes and or products, because products are also like, it's like a small star. It's like, oh, I can win this. Nice. Let's see how we can do it. So of course, a little bit tactics about what products you select. So if you, for instance, want to give a car away, there's actually a lesser amount of people who want to participate, because they perceive the price as unobtainable. So the more obtainable the price is perceived to be, the higher conversion rate will actually be for your campaign. Step 3, you need to add the iframe. So Scratch integrates with most CMS and websites, apps, and you can definitely place a pop-up on your website to sort of drive all of that organic traffic during the time as well. And then you have some optional traffic drivers that will definitely increase the performance of your campaign, but they are optional. You don't have to do it, but it's advised to do it if you want a bigger performance. It's sort of activating newsletters, activating email flows, purchase flows, choose some channels, paid channels, and to create ads to drive traffic, like meta ads, paid ads, SEO. And of course, if you want to sort of handle and manage the data and work with that, you can also integrate Scratch with your email system. It takes less than 30 minutes, and I have a slide covering what CMS we support. But basically, here's the first Halloween example, and I think it's a really cute Halloween campaign that was run, I think it was last year, by an e-commerce shop called VitaMask, and one of them, they have these sheets that you use for cleansing your face. So they were adding a ghost and saying, let's get a sheet faced. It's a little bit fun pun there. But basically what they wanted to do, they wanted to drive people with discount codes. And everyone basically won a discount code between 20 and 50%. 75% of those who actually were exposed to the campaign, they actually converted and took the test. This is a mystery box, so they just designed the ghost to sort of be clickable. So it's a very cute campaign that performed really, really well. They had it active for 20 days. And the purpose was to increase sales. Then we have this other spooky campaign going on from a liquor vendor who is selling wine and liquors and beverages. And this very, very smoky whiskey from Artberg was the main prize. It was a monster smoke gift pack. So of course, this has to be to the right audience that is above age as well. But this game is a scratch card where you can sort of scratch away. And the cool thing about this was there was one main prize, which was these nice whiskeys. So definitely if you're a whiskey lover, you would probably be interested in that. But the other cool thing is everyone got a comfort prize, which means that everyone who participated, they got 100 DKK discount gift voucher, which is approximately like 15 euro. But on the condition they buy for more than 100 euro, like 700 crowns. So this is a very nice way to sort of give people an opportunity in a period where they might be shopping a little bit extra, spending some more, buying some Christmas presents, etc., to actually make a campaign that could be converting. And in this case, 79% of those who actually signed up they participate in the campaign. So very, very good performance as well. The game journey is of course available as well on phone. It's just for demoing, it's easy to view, but here's an example on how the game journey can look on the phone. You sort of have the landing page, you have registration forms that can be customized, then you have the game and the scratch card itself, and then there's some different, like if you win, you can get a discount code, or you can get the prize, you'll get an email notification, or if you lose, there might be a consolation prize, and in the case with this, there was a consolation prize. If we jump to the next season, which would be Black Friday, 29th of November here in 24. A few tactics to consider, of course, because with Black Friday, everyone is going discount crazy, and discounts, which usually could be perceived as something special, is not necessarily that special during Black Friday because it's very much expected. However, if you do win a discount, the perception of the discount, if you win it, is again perceived as more special. So it's a very cool tactic to actually utilize games where you can win discounts and just turn up the ratio of winning, because then people will actually be like, oh, actually, I actually win. That's pretty cool. And there's a high likelihood that they will actually use the discount codes. You can also add pre-registrations and countdown to sort of increase the hype, but also increase the amount of touch points. When I talk about touch points, what I also write is to make participants eligible to participate in numerous days. Of course, Black Friday is just Friday, but some people also do Black Week, and maybe even a countdown up to Black Week. So there's a lot of opportunities to talk with the same people, get the same people to sort of coming back and wanting to come back. And even if you're changing the product portfolio and the discounts per day, et cetera, this is definitely something to be considered. Small note also that I know that a lot of e-commerce businesses especially would be and could be challenged by the bottom line. So sort of to ensure the maximum potential, don't necessarily see Black Friday and the gamified marketing campaigns as a revenue driver short term, but look at it where you collect permission, database, etc., to sort of warm up for other campaigns such as Christmas that we'll be covering later. The Black Friday case that I'll be covering today would be Power, which is one of the Nordic's biggest e-commerce retailers within electronics. And we did this case with them last year. And they are primarily actually running this organic online, where they're having and hosting a site-wide pop-up for the game that you can run. And of course, they are just pushing this out in their email, newsletters, automation flows, etc., etc. They have some very, very cool prizes. The total prize pool was valued at 10,000 euro. And they have been working with Scratcher for 4 years. So they are obviously very good at doing this. And they also integrated Scratcher with their sort of CDP. So it has a very intelligent sign-up form, which minimizes duplicates with their tool and increases opportunities with their text message, SMS reminders to actually allow the CDP and the database and the systems to basically talk together and increase performance across channels. One of the purposes that Power had was to increase the number of My Power Club memberships. And this is a bit about what I talked about before, these loyalty club members. So for the campaign with Black Friday, Black Week, they actually had more than 300,000 participants, and 69,000 of those turned up to be then email subscribers and confirmed sort of their subscriptions. Out of those 69,000, 45,000 of those actually turned into My Power Club members. And this is a very tangible goal for Power. And the reason why it's a big goal for Power to get My Power Club membership is, as Joachim, who is the group omnichannel director, says, that as much as up to 85% of those who's a My Power Club member, they tend to make a purchase within a reasonable period in time. So every time they can see, and that's why the goal is to increase the members they have to the club, not necessarily to track direct purchases, while that would be nice, is the My Power Club members and the base they want to grow. And they have just seen that Scratcher is excellent at doing this. Headlight for Q4. And if we dive a little bit into Christmas, there's a little bit different thing when it comes to this versus the other seasonal events that we talked about earlier. So for Christmas, there's a lot of different formats. I'm not talking about the game formats because there's a lot of different game formats like spin the wheel, scratch card, quizzes, etc. But here there's actually some different formats that you can use. And some of the consideration could be that you can choose to have one game for all days. Basically, you just allow people to participate again and again and again. You can have the advent calendar or the advent format, which is like it's one game that lasts 1 week. It opens every Sunday, and then there's 4 gates, one for each advent Sunday. Or you can choose to sort of have the traditional calendar, which is one or more different games per day, and then you have a daily chance to play. No matter what format you choose, and that depends on resources and what you want to do with the game, etc. But the best practices would be that you communicate with all players and you provide an incentive for them to come back daily or in the admin calendar weekly, because that is really good at re-attracting people to sort of engage with your content again and again and again. And it's also, in order to do this and make it work in a very good way, it's advisable to have daily prizes and a campaign draw. And the more times you sort of participate, the more days you participate in, the more often you re-engage with the brand, then you should make it so that you get a higher chance, more tickets to sort of enter the final draw. This is really good for performance. Here's 3 mock-ups of how it could look like. You have, for instance, the Vault one game multiple chances, so you can just participate and re-participate in that on a daily basis. The game doesn't change. Then you have an advent calendar with a retail provider called Skopsum that deals with whitewares, where you have 1 day, and then when it reaches the certain Sunday or the date, then the day unlocks. You can't just participate in them until the date sort of has come. So it creates a little bit of hype or excitement, and you need to remember that this is going on. And to the far right, we have the traditional Christmas calendar with a gate for each day. And this is really, really important to sort of set up with an email flow, some kind of flow that has the reminders to basically get people to re-engage with it. We've seen campaigns where the majority of people have participated in up to 18 of the 24 times. So I'm like, when else would you get a chance as a brand or company to engage with the same person 18 times in 24 days? I think that's pretty strong. If we look at a game journey from an advent calendar, so this is a Bravo Tours, a travel company. And here you will say that each box will open a new opportunity, and you can see the mock-up from the phone where you sort of have the boxes down. Everything of this can, of course, be branded and redesigned, and this is all designed by our customers. Then you have the registration, where you can choose what kind of information you want from the participant. Then you have the game, in this case, a scratch card, and they have the loser or winner mode, which could be an enter draw, or you can win a travel prize. A different way of doing it with a single campaign, a same game, was a very nice Christmas calendar executed by a departmental store in Copenhagen called Ilum. So basically, they wanted to display the different portfolio they have. They wanted to activate something and make it aware in store, but also on social. And what's really important for them was not only to get a lot of new permissions to talk to and connect with and inspire, but also to attach data to those permissions. So actually, this opportunities, and I can see here in my presentation that the video is not auto-playing, but basically you have the option to swipe left and right, and then there would be different packages that you can actually win. So they have made 4 different packages, and you can then like the package that you prefer, which to win, and then you enter a draw by the end of Christmas. In this case particular had 11,000 new permissions, and it's always a bit how 11,000, 15,000, 100,000. It really what we don't know as Scratcher is we don't know how many people was exposed to this campaign, or how much paid advertising, etc., was there to drive traffic. But nevertheless, really nice and well executed campaign. The last campaign that we're sort of covering today is a business story we did with the Vault. They made this the game of packages, which was a really nice fit with the mystery box format. So you can see down in the lower left corner here that there are these gifts or packages that's basically just JPEGs or images, and that you can customize to whatever you want. But the game itself is luck-based, and you click on the gift that you want, and then chance-based. If you open, maybe you're lucky there's something inside the gift. So Vault wanted to engage not only existing customers, but also attract new. So actually they made 2 different versions. One that they went to with app exposure and email, and the other one for new customers only. They actually had this game live for 2 months, so Christmas almost lasted until Easter, as the saying goes. Some of their key results and takeaways, and we made a business case on that you can find on Scratcher.io under business cases as well. But basically, their entire Volt marketing permission base in Denmark was increased with 150%, which is huge for one campaign. They said they significantly increased the order volume. Us as a vendor, we're like, hey, give us some numbers, but they didn't. They were unable to share them. The total transaction value was also increased, and they saw a 16% increase in Volt Plus members. A little bit the same with the case with Power that we saw earlier, that these member-based options, whether they're paid or free to become part of, is really business critical for them. And it is a KPI that is something that the business strives for, because it will yield a good strategic foundation for the future. In general, when we look at this campaign, we can see that it's been showcased more than 800,000 times with more than 200,000 unique participants. So this was activated, as you can see, at a bus stop. It was on buses, it wasn't paid. So they really had the muscle to also just spread this out wide. You don't have to do that, but Volt is, of course, a big player within the food e-commerce platform marketplace, and they had the power to activate that. And the cool thing was that this was one of the first gamification campaign that Volt did. And one of the quotes from Nils, who was the marketing manager and responsible for this, was that he said that this was basically pivotal for Volt because it opened up and showed them to sort of that it can do so much more than just play and win a prize, but it can raise awareness also for retail and significantly improve the metrics and attract new users to the platform. So that was the last case I had, and I really hope that all of the various different cases can inspire you to get started. If as minimum, if you don't have a tool, reach out to us to talk with. As I mentioned previously, we can easily embed it on your website. You'll just do that yourself with an iframe code. No need for developers. You can integrate the data from Scratcher to most ESP CRMs as well, either natively or through Zapier. And the prices are starting from €299 a month. Of course, it depends on a lot of various factors, but we'll be happy to take a chat with you regarding that. So head over to Scratcher.io and book a demo. If you have some questions, you can also feel free to contact me directly on my LinkedIn. I'm Nikolaj Skarby. I'm the CCO at Scratcher. And thank you so much for watching our webinar today about seasonal marketing. Have a good day.